Hey guys, it's Caleb from Rokblokz. Today we're going to do a mud flap install, but before that, we got some new t-shirts on our website. When you pick up a set of mud flaps, add one of these bad boys to your cart. We're here with the 2019 TRD PRO. I'm going to show you how to do our mud flap install and show you how to clearance the front mud flap for oversized tires. So we're going to go ahead and just jump right into it. To begin, determine whether or not you're going to need to remove the clearance for the oversized tires. If you do not plan on using the spacer with the bracket because you have oversized tires, you'll need to take an X-Acto knife, and we're going to go ahead and score and remove this. The lines have been etched in there to give you a proper start point, but just go slowly and make multiple passes for the cleanest look. And then you're better cutting towards the inside of the flap, just in case you slip. That way you won't be damaging the exterior of the flap. There we go. After you've done it, you can bend it, score it a little bit more, and boom. Should be left with a pretty clean cut, and then we can go ahead and take that to the truck and install it. Okay, so to begin, grab a few tools. You may or may not need a flathead screwdriver. A Phillips head screwdriver is definitely necessary. You may or may not need pliers. You'll definitely need a 10 mil if you can find it, and this is just a shorter ratcheting driver. We do offer some on our website that you can just toss in your cart with your mud flaps, and a level. Then you can take your hardware laid out with you. To begin on the front, we're going to go ahead and install this lower bracket. It's easier just to go ahead and get that done. We want to reach in here and find the large hole on the metal subframe portion. That well nut will slide up in there like so, and if you just leave it, it's just going to fall out. We'll take the expansion nut with the J-shaped bracket. We're going to go ahead, slide that up into its home, and then to expand it, we'll use a Phillips head screwdriver and just tighten it. And upon tightening it, it will expand into that hole and create a solid mounting surface. With it expanded a good few turns, you should be able to wiggle the bracket and almost shake the whole truck. But now it won't fall out, and we can proceed with mounting the flap to the truck. Alright, so we're going to take our screws and just prep them with our washers. And seeing as how this vehicle is equipped with oversized tires, we're going to leave out the spacer that's included. That is used for mounting up towards this bracket. And then with that trim out and no spacer, that'll pull that farther away from the tire, adding more clearance so you're not sitting there constantly rubbing on your mud flap. With that like that, you'll want to take your 10 mil, remove these two OEM screws. And now with those removed, we can take them, replace them with the 1-inch screw and washer, and we'll hang it on these top two holes first. And just get those hands started into the holes. Alright, here we go. And for the sake of the video, our tire is very, very close, but it is not rubbing. So to be able to get this in, we'll have to readjust the tire, and we'll get back at it. Now with the tire repositioned, we have plenty of room to get in here with our bolt. And then we can slide it through there, put our nut on the back. Now that we've got the bolt in place, you'll need a number 11 or a 7/16 wrench and a screwdriver, and you can tighten the inner bolt, and we'll get that just a few turns away from being fully tightened. Now with that inner mount being almost all the way tightened, we can go ahead and adjust our mud flap and start tightening the exterior too. Get those snugged up, and then we'll take our level and adjust the flap to where we want it to sit. And with that squared up and pulled out to where we want it to sit, you can go ahead and do your final tightening on all the bolts. We'll start with these upper exterior two, and then we'll tighten the inner one last. Alright, and now it is nice and tight, and mud flap is nice and tight. What you're doing when you're clearancing it is it allows it to sit back further without this causing a disruption in the shape of the flap, and allows it to mount up nicely. So now if you take that and you do that on the other side, that's it for the front. We're going to go ahead and move to the rear. Now that we're at the rear of the vehicle, you're going to need a 10 mil and a Phillips head screw driver and your level. And so to begin, we're just going to remove the 3 OEM bolts using our 10 mil, and then we'll go ahead and mount the mud flap. Alright, now with those removed, we're going to go ahead and prep our screws with washers. For the rear, you'll get a longer 2-inch screw and 3 for each side of the 1-inch screw. Just gonna put some washers on those, and then we'll be good to start mounting the mud flap. For this one, it's going to be easier to mount with the inner hole first that requires the spacer. So to do so, we'll put our screw through the flap and set our spacer on the back side. This way you can work it in here and hand tighten it into that OEM insert that's back there. Get it started a few turns, and then to help support the flap, go ahead and install the outer 3 just by hand. Just remember, the bigger your lift is, the easier these are to install. Okay, now with those all started, we're going to go ahead and get them just slightly snug to where we can still move the mud flap back and forth. So we'll hurry and zip these in. Alright, now with those just barely snug, we can take our level, slide the mud flap in and out, get it squared up, and adjusted to our liking, and then we will tighten the screws finally, and you are good. That is the rear.